going on, and welcome back to What Shall We Do Next. I'm Mike, your host, and I hope you guys are having the best day ever. Before I get started, guys, if you are new here, please subscribe if you haven't already done that. We're on the road to 90,000 subscribers, and I would love you to join me on this journey. So hit subscribe and join the fam. And also, guys, go follow me on all my social media. Links are in the description. I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even Snapchat, so go follow me on all of those. And as you guys know, I recently started a Facebook account, so you can add me on Facebook, and we can be Facebook friends. So go do that. Link is in the description. And finally, be sure to turn on the notification bell right next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified every time I upload a video. Thank you. But once again, I am coming back at you guys with another creepy video, and today we are talking about another creepypasta. And this creepypasta is called The Dark Truth Behind You. That's right, guys, Spongebob Squarepants. So as you guys know, I did a dark truth behind Hello Kitty. I've done that before. I've done a dark truth behind McDonald's. And then yesterday I did like the dark truth behind Ed, Edd n Eddy. And little did I know, there is a dark truth behind a lot of things. And some of these stories are actually really good. Like, I sat there all day today just reading these stories. And I thought it was pretty cool. But enough of the jibber jabber. Let's get right over to the story. The Dark Truth Behind Spongebob Squarepants. I bet you've heard about the TV show, Spongebob Squarepants. You know, the show about a talking sponge, Spongebob, who goes on adventures with his dumb starfish friend named Patrick, and the always unlucky Squidward. There's Mr. Krabs, the money grabber, and the scientist and karate master, squirrel named Sandy. Everybody knows about the show and how popular it is, but they don't know the truth behind it. SpongeBob and his friends are actually the ghosts of humans that forcefully had to take over the bodies of sea creatures to survive. All of them had visions of the buildings and structures from their previous lives. I will now explain the backstory of the 5 main characters I talked about earlier. SpongeBob was originally a kid named Bob. Bob was a nice kid, always helping others, and always trying to stay out of trouble. But often he did get in trouble, taking the rap for what other kids did, and often accidentally tripping someone when trying to help them. One day in 1920, while riding his bike, he accidentally went down a steep hill and fell off, putting him in a coma. After 2 weeks, he eventually died and had a proper funeral. In his sea creature counterpart, he still is very nice and still gets in trouble. Patrick, in his past life, was named John. John was a couple of years younger than Bob, and they were actually very close friends. They lived in the same neighborhood and often played together. In 1918, he was hit in the head very hard, giving him brain damage and an occasional inability to think. Then for his last 5 years, he was always getting into extreme trouble, often hurting other people, and was friendless to everyone except for Bob. Then in 1923, he was having a moment of stupidity and climbed onto the roof. He tripped and fell off the roof, cracking his head and eventually killing him. In his sea creature counterpart, he still acts dumb and is only friends with SpongeBob. Squidward's human name was Dan. Dan was the sore thumb, never playing with the other kids. He was always lonely, with no friends except for his clarinet and his teddy bear, Zippy. Dan had a severe heart condition that would eventually lead him to his end. His heart was so weak that if something surprising happened, if he got startled, he could have a heart attack. One night in 1930, he had a dream where Zippy was murdering him. This scared him so much that he woke up with a severe heart attack, which killed him. In his sea creature counterpart, he still gets scared often, and his only friend is his clarinet. Jim was the name of Mr. Krabs' human counterpart. Jim was from a wealthy family. Despite his family fortune, he was a money grabber and a pickpocket, often taking people's money and running off with it. He was always behind the rest of the family, having a mild mental condition. He also really loved piggy banks and cash registers, and owned a pet whale in a large fish tank. Because of these issues and oddities, he was laughed at by his whole family. His family had a big vault where they stashed all the money, and one day in 1953, when Jim was inside it, jumping for joy because of his family gaining $1 billion, 3 huge bags of money toppled from a high shelf in the vault and crushed him to death. In his sea creature counterpart, he still hogs money and has a whale daughter named Pearl, being his pet whale. Sandy's human counterpart was named Sally. Sally was a teacher's pet. She was always winning the science fairs and often got all A+s due to her intelligence. Kids would come to her at recess and ask her to fix their math problems. Sally was a black belt in karate, often beating all her students. She would also make many custom fireworks at the country club, which gained her major popularity. Sally was on top of the world in karate one day in 1969. Sally was a fighting master. She was doing well until she got kicked extremely hard in the chest, breaking her ribs and making her unable to breathe. This eventually killed her. Even though she isn't a sea creature, in her squirrel form, she was still able to build her tree dome and be a karate and science master. There are many other sea creatures who contain the souls of dead children. They yearn to see their families again and long for their previous lives. Maybe one day when their fish forms die, these mournful souls will take over the new baby of their previous mother. If they cannot, however, they will be trapped in a fish body forever, roaming alone across the 7 seas. And that is the end of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story. As always, I thought it was okay. I mean, to be honest, it was definitely not as good as the Ed, Edd and Eddy story. Like, that one was, like, legit. Like, I felt sad reading that story. But this seemed, some of it seemed kind of laughable. Like, Mr. Krabs with the money falling on him. I mean, I guess that's possible. Like, you could probably die like that. But, man, I don't know. I just thought it was a little silly, but it was still, it was pretty cool. Well, like I said, guys, there is a lot more of these stories out there about cartoons, like your favorite cartoons. I couldn't believe it. Like, I didn't even know this stuff existed. I knew about the Ed, Edd and Eddy one, and it was because of that one that I found all these other ones, and I just thought, man, that'd be so cool. Like, I've been reading them, so I thought it'd be pretty cool to tell you guys. But my question to all of you for question of the day is, do you watch SpongeBob SquarePants, or did you used to watch SpongeBob SquarePants? Me personally, I used to hate it at one point. I remember I used to absolutely hate it. And one time I just fell in love with it. I have no idea why. I just changed my whole perspective of it, and I fell in love with it. I used to love it as a kid. I actually remember where and when I fell in love with it. I was in Orlando, Florida. I was about 11 years old, I think, at the time, 10, 11 years old. And I remember just drawing a picture of SpongeBob, and then I drew Patrick. And even though I hated the show, I don't know why I was drawing them on these little square pieces of paper. And after that, I just fell in love with it. It's a weird thing that happened. But let me know if you watch SpongeBob. That is question of the day. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, please slap that like button. Let's see if we can go for 27 billion likes on this video. I would really appreciate that. And if you guys didn't see my previous video, which was the Ed, Edd and Eddy story, if you want to see that, it's really cool. I suggest you check it out if you didn't see it. Click on the outro right about here. And if you want to just watch another random video, you can click this side and it will do that too. But remember, the most important thing of all, guys, chase your dreams. I love you all. Don't let anybody bring you down. And I'll see you back here tomorrow for another video. Peace out.